To prove her PhD degree, Ing-Wen Tsai had repeatedly relied on letters of certification. Shortly after Tsai withdrew from course on November 10, 1982, Tsai decided to complete an overseas student's job application registration form and apply for a teaching position in Taiwan. According to the form, Tsai's PhD degree was to be awarded in May 1983, and she planned to return to Taiwan after receiving her PhD degree in May 1983. On May 23, 1983, the National Youth Commission recommended Tsai to the National Chengchi University for a position to teach laws. The recommendation letter also stated that Tsai's PhD was awarded in May 1983. At the time, Tsai had no PhD diploma to prove her PhD degree awarded in May 1983. She relied on a letter of certification she requested from Michael Elliott on February 17, 1983. Elliott's letter certified Tsai was shortly to submit her doctoral thesis soon, and her viva exam would be held in the spring of 1983. Elliott's letter was subpoenaed from the National Chengchi University by the Taiwan Taipei District Prosecutor's Office. Tsai, her office, and her attorneys never responded to the questions raised regarding Elliott's letter of certification. On May 30, 1983, Chengchi University declined to offer a teaching position to Tsai. In June 1983, the National Chengchi University Law Review published Tsai's journal article and presented Tsai as a legal scholar with a PhD degree in international economic law from LSE. On June 30, 1983, Tsai returned from San Francisco to Taiwan. 2 months later, on September 1, 1983, Tsai began to teach at Suzhou University. Her teaching position was as an adjunct lecturer, indicating that Suzhou University did not accept Tsai's PhD degree awarded in May 1983. On February 16, 1984, Tsai was promoted from adjunct lecturer to adjunct associate professor at Suzhou University. Tsai's original PhD diploma was issued on March 14, 1984, only 27 days after Tsai's promotion. Instead of waiting for about a month, Tsai relied on her Viva Result notification letter issued on February 8, 1984, to prove her PhD degree. Furthermore, Tsai had another letter of certification issued on January 23, 1984. It was issued only 16 days before Tsai's Viva Result notification letter was issued on February 8, 1984. Ian Stephenson, secretary of the LSE Graduate School, issued the letter of certification certifying that Tsai submitted her doctoral thesis in June 1983, and her Viva exam was held in mid-October 1983. The letter also certified that the examiners had been satisfied with Tsai's thesis and Tsai's performance in the oral exam and had recommended to the UOL that the degree of PhD be awarded. The thesis submission date and the Viva exam date were details of Tsai's Viva exam. Based on the ICO decision notice dated November 26, 2020, Tsai's LSE student file did not include details of her Viva exam. Stephenson was secretary of the LSE Graduate School. Based on Tsai's LSE student file, he had no way of knowing when Tsai's thesis submission date and Viva exam date were. For the information of Tsai's Viva examiners, LSE admitted that LSE had no way of cross-checking it, and LSE considered it unlikely that they would have done so. By the same token, Stephenson had no way of cross-checking Psy's thesis submission date and Viva exam date, and it was unlikely that Stephenson would have done so. Regarding Psy's Viva exam result, when Stephenson wrote the letter, UOL had not yet issued the Viva result notification letter. In the early 1980s, the UOL was the degree awarding body. Only the UOL could certify Psy's thesis submission date, Viva exam date, and Viva exam result. Psy was aware of that. On September 19, 2019, Psy's attorneys submitted Stephenson's letter to the Taiwan Taipei District Prosecutor's Office as evidence to prove Psy's PhD degree and described it as a letter from UOL. On September 23, 2019, Psy's office prepared a timeline of Psy's PhD journey in the UK and described Stephenson's letter as a letter issued by UOL to notify that Psy had passed the Viva exam. How did Stephenson get all the information about Psy's Viva exam? On December 5, 1983, about a month and a half before Stephenson issued the letter of certification, Psy contacted Stephenson, informing Stephenson about the identity of her external Viva examiner. It was more likely than not that Psy was the source of the information about her Viva exam. 2 copies to Taipei. On the top margin indicates that Stephenson's letter was most likely issued in response to Psy's letter dated December 5, 1983. To prove her PhD degree, Psy had her Viva result notification letter issued on February 8, 1984, and the original PhD diploma issued on March 14, 1984. Why did Psy go through the hassle of requesting Stephenson's letter to certify her thesis submission date, Viva exam date, and Viva exam result on December 5, 1983? It is worth noting that Stephenson's letter went beyond the thesis submission date, Viva exam day, and Viva exam result. In the letter, Stephenson identified Psy's Viva result notification letter as an official letter of award and certified that it would be available in February 1984. It appears that Psy had no intention of using her original PhD diploma to prove her PhD degree. In the summer of 1984, Psy reapplied for a teaching position at the Chengchi University. The PhD diploma submitted by Psy to prove her 1984 PhD degree was blurry and barely legible. The Taiwan Taipei District Prosecutor's Office subpoenaed another letter of certification from Suzhou University, which the academic registrar issued at UOL on April 9, 1990. At the time, Psy's original PhD diploma had been in her possession for over 6 years. But Psy chose to rely on this letter of certification to prove her PhD degree instead of her PhD diploma. Fast forward to September 23, 2019, Psy's office announced that the National Central Library in Taiwan would make a digital copy of Psy's doctoral thesis downloadable on its official website. According to the National Central Library's protocol, before it could happen, Psy had to prove her PhD degree. After the National Central Library made the digital copy of Psy's doctoral thesis downloadable online, a public hearing was held in the Legislative Yuan on November 28, 2019. At the time, Psy had no PhD diploma to prove her PhD degree awarded in May 1983. The Deputy Director General of the National Central Library confirmed that Psy did not submit any of her PhD diplomas to prove her PhD degree. Instead, the library relied on 2 letters of certification included in Psy's thesis to confirm Psy's PhD degree.
好，了解。那个，因为蔡总统的这一份学位论文的电子档里面，他附了2份证明文件，一份呢就是他的口试通过的这个证明书，另外一份是学位论文。博士学位的通知书，所以他有附了这2份证明文件。
那我请教
Psy's Viva result notification letter appeared on the 4th page of the digital copy of Psy's doctoral thesis. Psy submitted it to the library not as a Viva result notification letter, but a PhD degree notification letter to prove her PhD degree. The timeline of Psy's PhD journey in the UK described it as an examination notification letter of qualification of PhD degree, issued by UOL. Stephenson's letter appeared on the 3rd page of the digital copy of Psy's doctoral thesis. Psy relied on it to change her Viva result notification letter into a PhD degree notification letter, by certifying that it is expected that the official letter of award will be available in February 1984. Since the Viva result notification letter was submitted as an official letter of award, Stephenson's letter was submitted as Psy's Viva result notification letter. In September 2019, in order to make the National Central Library accept her thesis as a PhD thesis, Psy proved her PhD not with any of her PhD diplomas, but a Viva result notification letter issued by Stephenson and an official letter of award. Stephenson wrote the letter 16 days before UOL issued Psy's Viva result notification letter. He had no way of knowing when UOL would issue Psy's Viva result notification letter. On December 5, 1983, Psy had the information about her thesis submission date, her Viva exam date, and the name of her external Viva examiner. But how could Psy know when UOL would issue her Viva result notification letter 2 months before? On July 23, 2020, Kevin Haynes found Stephenson's letter on page 70 of Psy's LSE student file and verified it as authentic. How and when did Stephenson's letter dated January 23, 1984, accidentally land in Psy's LSE student file?